Hi guys, welcome back. It's Tommy with another Starcraft Remastered replay cast from the South Korean ladder from September 2025. Actually, it was played 2 days ago on the 30th of September 2025, and a very interesting game here in between the two pros on the ladder. We have spawning in the lower left in the red. It is Hero, one of the best known Zergs there is, and his opponent here also one of the best Terran from South Korea. It is Light who is spawning here in the upper right part as the TL Terran. So it should be of course a very interesting game. We have a long replay around 22-minute mark. Both players with a very high APM. Production tab is as always in the upper left part, just in case I am missing something. And of course we will be checking out the build orders just like we do in the previous replays here onto this channel. So it looks like Light is preparing a wall up here. It is of course a 4 spawning location map. So wall of is of course a very safe and interesting idea here for the Terran, as very likely he's going to continue with an expansion here. In the meantime, the Zerg is just checking out the map with his Overlord, also an Overlord getting built by him into spawning pools, so I'm also sure that he will very likely also try to go for an expansion very soon into this location. So the pretty standard stuff here by both players. There's the barracks here for the Terran. Usually the Terrans really like to go into the bio, into mass marines with medics, but into the middle game or into the late game we saw some transitioning, especially from Flash into mech units, so tanks with vultures and Goliaths. Is this going to be the case into this game? We're about to find out, as there's the drone moving towards the expansion point. At the same time also a nice scouting drone here. Same can be said here for Light, who is also scouting out a map at around the 1 minute and 50-second mark. So the pretty standard timing here for both players to scout the map. No gas yet here for both players. There's the expansion as the game continues. A very good scouting here for the Zerg. As now the SCV saw the Overlords here, so he of course knows that it is the lower left part where the Zerg is located. So yeah, pretty good stuff here for both of them. Very high APM here for Hero, so he's taking this game very seriously. Almost 600 APM with almost 400 here for Light, so looks like there will be a serious game. So no testing here onto the ladder, no groovy stuff by them, as Zerg is already out here on the map, 6 of them for Hero. So this will of course force a wall of, but the wall of is pretty much completed here by Light. He should be safe behind his SCVs, behind his supply depots. SCVs are being pulled to block the entrance. They can of course repair the buildings. So Light, of course, he has no idea what the build order is from the Terran, but right now he knows. I believe he's going to stay here back with the Zerglings just to have control from the exit, just to see if there's going to be a move out by the Terran or not. In the meantime, the Hero is also taking another expansion here into this location, so no tier 2 upgrade for him. The SCV sees this, so of course Light knows that something is happening here. Usually the Zergs do upgrade their tier 2 at around the 2 minute and 50-second mark, so no tier 2 upgrade there, none of them here as well. So yeah, the SCV is of course giving important information here towards Light that it is perhaps a triple base Zerg scenario here. And now he finally sees the tier 2 upgrade, but he also saw the timing here, so of course he very likely suspects that it is indeed another expansion point from the Zerg. Let's check the main here from the Terran. SCVs are getting transferred. There's the gas, still only 1 barracks. Of course he can hide other barracks here in the back. He could even hide some other units, but in the meantime a mistake here by Light, so huge mistake here by him, as some Zerglings will follow here forward. But yeah, in the end he is able to block the entrance, so I believe there was no vision against the Terran with this 1 barracks right here. But Hero nicely abusing the fact here from Light that the SCVs have been transferred towards the middle line, and he tried of course to bust here forward, but a quick reaction here by Light blocking the entrance. Very good stuff here by him, as more Zerglings are getting produced. Tier 2 is about to get finished. We might see some Mutalisk, as many Zergs really like to transition into Mutalisk. And now the SCV finally is scouting this location. Immediate reaction here by Hero, actually very late reaction here. He might even lose this base as so many Marines are moving here forward. In the meantime, some Zerglings will come in from the back, but there could be of course a bunker here for the Terran, and the Marines are actually in a very good position here, even getting protected by this one bunker. So sadly here for Hero, a little bit of a too greedy gameplay by him, not going for the tier 2 upgrade. Of course, Light, sensing that something is happening, immediately sends out a group of Marines, 6 Marines actually, towards the expansion point, and even a second bunker is getting produced here by Light. I believe one would have been enough, but he really wants to protect his Marines as the hatchery is taking more damage. Of course, Hero has to react. A good surround here, going straight towards this one bunker, taking some great damage. Good micro here by Light, but in the end the Marines will be surrounded. Sadly here for Light, the second bunker didn't finish in time, and with that Hero nicely defending this expansion, but also taking some casualties, losing some Zerglings. However, it's very important to keep this expansion alive. So good stuff here by Hero. More and more Zerglings are getting forced to be produced here, as Light is now reacting with a fire bat. Hero who is moving here out onto the map, actually many more fire bats. So this could be a mass fire bat rush by Light here, who is actually also going towards one factory. Of course the fire bats will be very good versus the Zerglings here, and we even have Stim, so those fire bats will have a great time against those Zerglings. But there's so many Zerglings alive. However, that fire is dealing so much damage against the bugs onto the ground, so the perfect counter towards those Zerglings have it here. Fire bats, however, a sunken is getting produced, is actually finished here already for Hero, so the fire bats will be fended off. Of course, Light actually sending them out towards their deaths. So in the meantime, we actually have one Zergling who is moving here forward into the main. So very interesting game we have here. The Zergling, however, giving important information towards Hero. Sadly here for Light, he wasn't able to seal the entrance, so Hero now knows that it's a triple barracks into some factories for Light, as we actually also have a starport here for him, so we might see some dropship harassment. It could be a possibility here for Light, and we have a Queen's Nest, so we might see a tier 3 upgrade. In the meantime, some mutants are actually going to be produced here, so very good mix of units here for Hero, who is moving forward. And I believe Light now only has started his production with turrets, as the mutants are now moving forward towards the bases from the Terran. Let's see if they can do some damage. However, Light with so many turrets at home, looking very strong with a very good defense. In the meantime, however, the Zerg having the economic advantage. He has 3 bases versus the only 2 here from the Terran, and at the same time 30 workers already here for Hero, as he's able to snipe 3 SCVs now. So very good job here by Hero, taking some damage, but in the end it was very good here. A very good harassment here by him, showing his presence, sniping those SCVs, of course forcing Light to stay back with his Marines. And in the meantime, this important expansion is still pumping out gas and minerals for Hero. So Hero with a very good map control now. The Mutalisk, of course, very fast in the air. The Terran has to turtle up a little bit, and his answer towards those Mutalisks will of course be science vessels for him. So yeah, let's have a look when or if there's going to be a move out by the Marines. And also an interesting decision here for Light to go for some fire bats as the game continues here. However, Light knows of course that he has to punish somehow the greedy gameplay here by Hero with this expansion point right here. I believe as soon as a science vessel is going to be out, the push might move forward here for Light. He might try to attack the newly established base here from the Zerg, which already has taken some damage. Let's have a look. Hero, of course, showing his presence. He tries to force Light to stay back. Light nicely microing those Marines and actually dealing good damage towards all of those Mutalisks. The 3 of them are pretty much hurt, so a science vessel could deal also good damage. We do have a tank, of course, against the defenses here from the Zerg. Siege tank ability, I believe, has not been done yet here by Light, as of course at around the 11-minute mark I believe we might see a timing push here by Light. So one science vessel is out, he could use irradiance very soon. And yeah, let's see if he's going to move out all of those Mutalisks jumped up together. Hero nicely microing them. Of course, he tries to buy as much time as he can for his economy. Now we've been reacting with another sunken, so Light might be late with a push. We even have an Nidus canal, and very soon he might transition into some lurkers. So the defenses will look very good here for Hero. as he's also nicely macroing those mutlis, just taking so many shots. Of course, Hero tries to snipe the important unit, he tries to snipe the science vessel, dealing good damage, but in the end he might even be successful to snipe it. It would be very important here for him to snipe the science vessel. Light needs to be careful, he has to micro it back out of danger. And the Irradiance actually getting almost finished here, so Light playing with fire here with his science vessel. Perhaps some SCVs need to be pulled forward as the science vessel is very low, but it will give good vision here, so the tanks will be able to take care of those lurkers. The science vessel, still he wants to snipe it. It's a very important move here, and finally he's going to get it, but at what cost, as so many mutants are hurt now. And now even come the Marines forward. Scan is going out, one Sunken is going to be taken out very soon, and the Terran is moving forward. However, the lurkers will be ready to respond, and sadly here for the Terran, he has to use Scan now in order to see all of those lurkers. So the science vessel has been taken out, the lurkers are moving forward, one is taken out, the second one here as well. So good attack here by the Terran, protecting the tank in the back. In the meantime, the Zerg tries of course to snipe the units in the back, but it's only a couple of those nucleus in the air. Finally the tank is being taken out here, so the Terran is moving forward, and sadly here for him, he doesn't have any scans available, so he has to stay back. We even have a Defiler now here for the Zerg, so the defense from the Zerg looking very good for him. 2 Sunkens, 1 Nidus Worm in the back. Sadly here for Light, losing that science vessel and also losing quite some large amount of his army. So right now I believe the Zerg having the advantage here into the game, having 40 workers, 7 more workers here for the Terran, as Hero might even try to take this expansion right here into the upper left part, or perhaps even taking this expansion right here. So in the meantime, the Terran tries of course to take as much map control as he can, tries to patrol the map. Reinforcements are moving forward here for him. He has 4 barracks at home. Let's have a look at the Zerg. Only hatcheries here for him with another hatchery, so we might see a mass production happening very soon. And we even have a hive, so we could see a transition into some Ultralisk very soon. Either that or mass Zerglings could be also an option here for him, as of course Light tries to attack, tries to take down this expansion right here. We do have a Nidus connection, there are some lurkers here, but there is vision here for the Light as one lurker has been irradiated, and indeed Hero is taking those expansion into the upper left part. So yeah, Defiler with the Dark Swarm is being used, Scourges are in the air. Zerg is actually looking very well. A bit of a mistake here, but no, actually he's using Dark Swarm. Light is going to react, he has to micro a little bit back. So very good defense here indeed, of course, and Dark Swarm also a very nice spell to have as a Zerg. So in the meantime, I believe Light needs to take another expansion now very soon, as the Zerg just keeps on gaining more and more of a map control, more and more bases. So Light has to make something happen, and even the Dark Swarm of course making life very hard here for Light. So Light is taking some casualties, he's getting pushed back as a Dark Swarm highway is getting created here by Hero. So very good game here for Hero, securing this expansion, having another hatchery there. Light needs that expansion, there it is indeed, he did upfloat it, and he now is almost at 60 workers, so it's a good fact here for Light that he has another expansion. He might even try to take other expansion points. Actually he did take the lower right part, so very good move indeed. Of course Light realizing that he can't push forward towards the expansion from the Zerg, he decides to play it safe, he decides to take expansions of his own, and we might see him go for a dropship. If you ask me, of course dropship could be very deadly into this location, as the Zerg has some Zerglings here, but not that many defenses actually, so those defenses here could be bypassed. However, we do see the Defiler with Dark Swarm sorry, could be there to defend the expansion right here, and even some Scourge in the air. So Hero even thinking about the dropship harassment. Very smart gameplay here by him. In the meantime, Light just patrolling here the map, gaining of course much vision here, even sending out his barracks. So we do have a full-on transition into mech by him, as yeah, those vultures with good values here, with the mines getting some good connections versus the opponent. I'm sorry. Yeah, the game continues. More and more splash damage is being taken here by the Zerg, so those vultures are really doing a good job here for the Terran, as I have to drink a little bit of water. And in the meantime, the Terran just killing more and more of those Zerglings. So very good pickups here for the Terran, very good connections here with those mines. Also very good defense versus those Scourges. And yeah, the Defiler is also getting irradiated here by him. Some groups of Zerglings will try, of course, to attack the bases from the Terran. But in the end, I believe Light should be able to fend this off with those medics doing some good job healing. And yeah, we did pass the 50-minute mark. It's still anyone's game. Quite interesting mid-game we have here. Nice macro game, of course. Great mix of units here for both players. Let's have a look at those upgrades a little bit. From the Marines, 1-1 for them, but I believe it's going now full into those upgrades from the tanks. And yeah, very good defenses here, like I told you, from the Terran with those mines, getting some good connections. As the units here from Light just planting more and more mines. It was making it very hard here for the Zerg to move out. Yeah, those mines are very perfect counter towards those masses of Zerglings. And now we do have a run by here by Light with those vultures, but of course Dark Swarm ready here to defend for Hero, as he's also taking another important expansion here. And even having masses of hatcheries here and masses of queens. So interesting transition. Of course, Hero is expecting some mass tank gameplay here by Light. But Light currently just going for mass vultures. Only a couple of tanks for him. Those queens, of course, will be used against the mech from the Terran. Let's see who is going to be the victor of this interesting game. As the tank is a little bit exposed here, so sadly here for Light, not having so many defenses here. Now finally the vultures do arrive to fend this off. However, one tank has been sniped. More tanks do arrive, but of course the answer from the Zerg is going to be mass queens there. However, very nice macro game here by Light, taking expansion after expansion, so playing very nice, very late game oriented. But we do know, of course, that the end of the game is starting to come very close. So 5 minutes are being left. The Zerg is taking quite some casualties. He's trying, of course, to push forward. The Terran, however, pretty much in control of the right part. Same can be said here for the Zerg, who is in control of the left part. And we actually do have some ultralisk here for the Zerg. No speed has been done yet for him, as he's now moving forward. Light not really having so many defenses here. Some mines will get some good connections here, and more mines are getting laid down now. Hero decides to attack with no speed for those ultras, but he does have Dark Swarm, so he's moving now forward with his ultralisk, taking more damage. The tanks are nicely getting spread, but let's not forget that there are queens soon to be available here for the Zerg. In the meantime, Light also tries to push here forward. Good defenses, lurkers. Queens are still on standby here for the Zerg, but of course they can easily take out those tanks. No air defenses here, only one turret for the Terran. And yeah, let's see who's going to be the victor of this interesting game here in September 2025. As it is still anyone's game. Interesting decision here for Light to irradiate those overalls, but it actually is a very smart decision here by him, given the fact that it has been a drop attempt here by the Hero versus the opponent. So I believe his target would have been the newly established base here from the Terran, but Light nicely reacting with irradiance. Hero also immediately reacting by dropping all of those units. So very nice gameplay here, very nice mind gameplay here by both players, as the Scourge actually do take out the science vessel here, and actually the queens have left their base. Where did they go? There they are. So yeah, with lots and lots of energy here for him. Let's have a look. He's going to perhaps also use some ensnare. Now finally the vultures do detect them, and now the tanks will be immediately getting targeted. We do, however, some Goliaths here to fend this off. Even Irradiate is getting used, so not that many pickups here from the queens. Now finally they do target more and more tanks as the buildings do hatch there. So good engagement here from Hero with those 6 queens, actually 7 queens for him. The Goliaths also taking some good connections. But yeah, in the meantime, the Zerg is pretty much throwing now everything he has towards the expansions here from the Terran. We also see a huge move out with those Zerglings. Let's check those upgrades very quickly. It's 3-2, so very important upgrades here from the Zerg, as the Artosis is also making here forward. towards the Terran expansion. So yeah, huge waves are getting sent out here by Hero towards the newly established bases here from Light, and all of a sudden Light not really having so many defenses getting left. Actually a huge highway has been created here by the Zerg, and somehow Light, sadly here for him, he's not having any defenses left. This might have been the GG move out here from Hero, so all of a sudden Hero finding the weak spot, and there it is. Yes, indeed, it is going to be GG. So the Queens, of course, taking care of those tanks very importantly, and sadly here for Light, he wasn't able to just punish the expanding tactic here from Hero. So Hero just taking base after base. Sadly here for Light, he did react with some very late expansion on his own. If the game would have been continued, I believe Light would have had the advantage, but in the end those Queens creating a nice highway, killing those tanks, and in the end just Hero throwing everything he had. He was almost maxed out, 60 supply of drones for him. So yeah, sadly here for Light, he didn't punish the expanding greedy gameplay here by Hero. Very good game here by Hero indeed. And yeah, this could of course be anytime a grand final of a tournament for like the ASL or the soup tournament. If you guys like to drink soup, it's of course very good for the health. So yeah, let's have a look at the stats very quickly, as so many units have been killed into this game, and Hero with a very high APM indeed here for him, taking this game quite serious. Light, sadly for him, not being able to punish the macro gameplay from the Zerg, the expanding game from the Zerg, and in the end of course Hero did overwhelm him with a sheer mass of units. Dark Storm also very important for him, and those Queens also on point, clearing the way towards the Swarm, towards those upgraded Zerglings and Ultralisk. So yeah, very interesting game, like I told you, in September 2025. I hope you guys enjoyed. This is Tommy signing out.